And today I'm going to be teaching you all about AI. So AI can be made in any 3D modeling program. Right now, for this example, I am using Blender. And you can make it however you want. But AI itself is very fascinating to me, and it's really cool how it can navigate through obstacles all by itself, and nothing has to be controlling it but a code. Well, there are 3 different types of AI, and I'm going to be going through every type very precisely. For the first type, it is the Wander AI. The best comparison I can use to this are animals in Minecraft, because they just kind of wander around. Of course, over the generations of Minecraft, they've got more and more scripts. And if you're wondering what the script looks like, here it is. It's relatively short and easy, but it does a whole lot. It makes AI wander endlessly throughout the 3D world. But let's go deeper into AI. So, first things first, we're going to go ahead and just add in our little capsule. That will be our AI. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in now, and I'll fill it in. So, just like a player does, AI have the 3 different axes. The Z-axis, I'm going to draw here. That is forward and back. We are in a 2D view right now. And then there's the X-axis. So the 2D view, since we're in this viewport, the X-axis looks like it's front and back, but it's really left and right. And of course the Y-axis, which is up and down. So yeah, that's what the X-axis is. But just to make things a little more clear, I'll write them down. So right here, I'm just going to go ahead and write the front or forward, and I'll drag it to the forward place, and then I'm going to write back here. So those are the 2 different angles on the Z-axis. On the Y, we have the up on the top and the down on the bottom. And then on the X-axis, we have the left right here. So go and write that. And over here, we have the right. So I'm going to write that now. And those are the 3 different axes we have. But it's a little more complicated when it comes to AI. So just to understand things better, I'm going to draw a separate view, which you can really see how the X-axis looks more like the X-axis and not so much like the Z-axis. So if we're turning over there to that view, that little arrow I drew, we're rotating in that direction. So first, I'm going to draw the X-axis. I'll write an X there. And second, I'm going to draw the Y-axis. I'll write the Y there. And third, I'm going to draw the Z-axis right here. So that's forward and back. Then I'll write a Z. And same thing. They all mean the same thing. So yeah. And right here, just to make things a little clearer, I'm going to write, so the X, so what the X is, well, the rotation is only on the X-axis. It's not on any other axis. When it rotates, it doesn't rotate on the Y or the Z. It's only on the X. So the rotation equals X-axis because it only rotates there. So I'll just draw a little line to connect it now. So yeah, keep that in mind when writing a script, because you're only going to be rotating on the X-axis. There's no need to do it on the Y or Z. That could really mess things up. But yeah, and it's always left to right. That's what the X-axis is. So that's the only time we're going to be rotating, only on that axis. And adding on to what we have here in our diagram, I'm now going to be talking about really what everything is, just a little more clear. So we're going to stop at a random rotation. That's how the code works. It rotates random, it stops, and then it moves. And it always moves on the Z-axis. Never the X, never the Y. So yeah, that's all it moves on, only the Z. And up here, I'll just label it, and it's just Wander AI. The next code I'll be talking about is the Navmesh AI. Navmesh AI is a built-in thing in Unity, as well as other gaming engines, and it has 4 different options. So to make things more clear for the Navmesh AI, the Navmesh AI really relies on the floor. And you might not think that because the floors aren't usually that important. But once again, the Navmesh AI both have the same accesses. Every AI does because you couldn't coordinate anything without those accesses in use. So now I'm going to go ahead and draw the floor. It's a little bumpy, but yeah, it's fine. So I'll just label it here, and the floor always has to be part of the Navmesh, but it can't be connected. So there's a Navmesh function we can turn on and off to make sure that the floor doesn't move with the Navmesh when we use the code. And moving with this, so the floor, we always have to remember the floor, and the floor, it always has three different things. Well, a few different things. So it always is it's never part of the script, and yeah, it will not move with the Navmesh. It always stays the same. So it always has to be part of the Navmesh, but we have to turn off a certain function so it doesn't move with our capsule. Because if the floor moves, the capsule's position would be changing, but it's not moving. So things could get a little messed up there. But right here, I'm just going to make a little circle, and this is going to be our destination. So this is where the Navmesh comes to its own thing. So Navmeshes always have a destination, and they find the quickest ways possible to that destination. So if this little circle is our destination, then how would it get there? Well, the script, to make this work, the script is always equal to our movement destination, and is not really have anything to do much with the Navmesh, except for it being just having some code that involves the Navmesh, but it's really not, we're not adding anything to the Navmesh when doing this. We're keeping it the same. All the values are the same. So the script, yeah, it has a destination point. That's all we tell in the script, and we tell them how to get there, the quickest way. But if we want to know the quickest way, we have to go in the Navmesh function. So it's more important than the script, though. We're really relying on the Navmesh function here. So let's pretend this is its view. I'm going to just write it out there. You can pick how far your view limit wants to be. So there's a little wall in the way you can see. How will it get there? Well, let's say that it's too high to jump over. Well, we could always go around the wall. So we can't go over the wall. We can't go through the wall. Yeah, but we can go around. Or we can even possibly go. So we can't go on the y-axis right here. But maybe we can go on the y-axis. We definitely can't go to the z, or we're just going to bump into the wall. But maybe there's a passageway underneath. That's always a possibility because it always leaves an open door. But for most codes, let's pretend this wall is really high. You don't want an AI to be able to jump that high unless you want it to rain from the sky for some reason. It could be useful, but back to the topic, it can't go through the wall or above it. But what about stairs? Can it not jump up? Well, you can actually set how far you want it to jump and all the limits in the function. So it can always jump up the stairs. And it can get to its destination using the y-axis. But that's pretty much it for the Navmesh. Now, let's see what a third one is. Yeah, it can go up on the y-axis. So our third one is advanced AI. And games like Funrace 3D are a good thing for this. So you're going against AI opponents, of course, but they have a really good script to it. So once again, let's just draw our little capsule here, fill it in yellow. And what advanced AI, that's how I call it, what it is it's basically has more than just movement. It can have any script you want. And also, it once again has all the different axes, but does it? We can actually, using advanced AI in more advanced codes, you can make it so it can only go on one axis. And this isn't fully what I mean when I say advanced AI. I'm talking more about fighting and stuff, like AI that can follow you, but actually fights you, has good graphics, has good movement, and is also more intelligent than other things. So that's why I use Funrace 3D. You can think of it. It senses an obstacle, jumped over it. It's kind of like the Navmesh AI, but it can also, it's a little more to that than just getting to a target, because it has to go around twice. And yeah, it can't hit anything, so that's why I picked that for this. But of course, there are a lot more advanced codes than this. So what I've done here is I made one that can only go on the z-axis, one that can only go on the x-axis, and one that can only jump. And so it's the y and z-axis. Or if in Mario, you can sometimes have those little chain things, and they can go up and down. So that would be a case where it's just the y-axis. So that's what I've done here. But to be more specific with this AI is more, you have to use a player for this. And it's not really a thing where you have to get it to the target and move stuff around. It relies more on the player than the AI. That's what makes it kind of complicated. So let's pretend this is this viewport. It can look to the cube. And yeah, so this equals its follow range. Also, to be more specific, its viewport. So when it spots the cube, it will follow it if it's an enemy. That's what this advanced stuff is more about. It's usually about enemies. And it's not too advanced. I'm not talking like crazy, but I'm talking more about like more fighting here and following, fighting, and using intelligence to navigate through things. So this has a lot in common with the Navmesh actually. You can use the Navmesh, but just upgrade it a little bit to make it a little better. So this is this viewport range. It can follow and fight through that viewport range. And right here, I'm just going to write, so on collision, when it collides with the cube, it will fight with it. So it would attack it, and the cube would lose hearts. So, yeah. So on collision, a fight will happen, or near collision, depending on what kind of tools they have. They could have, like in Minecraft, a skeleton has a bow and arrow, so it can have long range. So it will block, some AI will also be blocked and fight. So it will kind of block your way, like Bowser. It blocks your way, but it also fights you at the same time. And that's more advanced AI, because it can sense where it is and shoot a fireball at you. But, so there's on collision fight, block and fight, and also follow and fight. So here I'm just going to draw 3 little hearts now and give the cube some hearts. So I just finished coloring them red, and I'm just going to call it lives. So what if you want different hits? So let's say this one has 3 hits, this one has 1.5 hits, and then this last one has, how about 1 hit? So it can only hit once. This is also, when I say more advanced, this is what I'm talking about. It's not just going to hit the player and bring you to the replay menu. It will actually fight it and give it a certain amount of lives left. And of course, you can go way more advanced into these things and add many more features to this. This is just a basic advanced AI. And right here, so this is basically everything about advanced, but you could have it travel like this. I'm just gonna do, this is viewport range, how about? And maybe if you're in this viewport range, you can lose 3 lives. So you would have to go to the replay menu. So you can do very advanced stuff with this. And I feel like that's what makes the Navmesh so open and why it got built into Unity. But anyways, this was all about AI. I hope you enjoyed watching, and see you next time.